Hi, Filmstorm here. Today I'll show you a collection of series House MD. It tells story about a doctor possessing extraordinary medical skills and rich knowledge that earn the admiration of both his peers and patients. Spoiler ahead. Watch out and take care. A 10-meter-long worm was pulled from the girl's belly, yet she had no idea where it came from. The girl came to the hospital after a car accident. As the doctor disinfected her wounds, she showed signs of pain, but our man House were not fooled by that act. He's sure this girl's just faking the pain, as he deduced from all the signs that she's got pain-free syndrome. The girl denied it, but then House hit her leg with his cane. Sure enough, she had no reaction. Needle pricks, scalding hot water, and even drilling the skull. Girl didn't feel any pain. What caused the painless condition? One day, House was munching on a sandwich and suddenly realized something. He hurried back to find the girl, insisting on performing abdominal surgery on her. He believed there was something inside her body, competing for and destroying her nerve tissue. The girl refused to cooperate, so he had his assistant hold her down. After disinfecting, he made an incision, and the girl screamed in pain. House were not buying that for a second. The girl gave up when she knew she's busted. And yeah, House found a massive 10-meter-long worm. It's been sucking up her nutrients, causing her pain-free life. Turns out, it's 'cause girl's been eating raw seafood. A heads up for y'all. Watch out when you're eating seafood. Cook that sucker good before you chow down. The body weighs over 600 pounds. Firefighters are troubled. What to do with this big guy? They try to lift the body. Original sound. Who farted? Come on, be serious. We're working. But no one fesses up. They wonder, could a dead person fart? The captain quickly checks for a heartbeat and reaches into his pants, feeling the femoral artery. There's a pulse. Turns out the big guy's alive. They rushes him to the hospital. Once there, big guy's still out cold. House orders an MRI for him. No brain bleed, no blockage, and no swelling. When doctors are discussing, the man suddenly wakes up. Weird coma, weird awakening. House thinks it's some trypanosomiasis, 'cause he eats whatever. Gotta crack his skull open, test that cerebrospinal fluid. But halfway through surgery, the man suddenly goes blind. He struggles in terror. Fortunately, his head is securely fixed. The doctor quickly gives him a sedative, so no accident occurs. After checking him out, optic nerve, retina, all good. No creepy crawlies in that fluid. Then House spots bumps all over the big guy's hands and diagnoses him with small cell lung cancer. Cancer cells have spread to the lymph nodes. There's no cure. Faced with this outcome, the man mumbles, "I've never smoked." Yeah, dude never smoked, but got lung cancer. That's life, ain't it? Nobody knows if tomorrow or an accident will come first, so seize the present moment. A girl finds a mysterious bottle from the sea, covered with unknown creatures. She's trying to figure out what's inside, accidentally breaking the bottle. Her palm gets cut by the glass. The unknown substance attaches to the wound. Soon after, the girl starts having a fever, vomiting and her eyes are all red. Got these gnarly red bumps on her joints too. House thinks she might have been infected with the smallpox virus. They need to test her DNA, but before the results come back, her father suddenly falls ill. Headache, nosebleed, and blisters appear on his body. He passes out in no time. The man's condition worsens. He kicks the bucket before they figure out the cause. House finds out the bottle came from an ancient Dutch shipwreck 200 years ago. The ship was transporting African slaves. Some of the poor dudes were infected with the virus. The captain threw them all into the sea. The virus turns out to be smallpox. Doctors quickly treat the girl, saving her life. But it's a bummer her dad's already gone. That's their biggest regret. Title: a toy cop is pulled out of the boy's nose. The next day, out comes a firefighter. On day 3, the little troublemaker comes back again with teary-eyed. This time, it's a fire truck that comes out. Dr. House is baffled. Like, what the heck? Why is this kid so obsessed with shoving stuff up his nose? And he only targets one nostril. House looks at the 3 toys. A cop, a firefighter, and a fire truck. Suddenly, he seems to get it. He tests the magnetic properties of an electromagnet, then holds it up to the boy's nostril. A little cat gets pulled out. Turns out, the boy sent the cop, firefighter, and fire truck to rescue the kitty. House can't help but chuckle, says he's clever, and they should nurture his talent. One day, he's gonna do big things, no doubt. The boy's got a tumor on his face, scaring the little girl screaming out. But the boy gets used to the reactions from strangers. He's put up with this scene for 16 years. But now, He's ready for a major change-up. He's off to the hospital for surgery, and the whole surgery's gonna be filmed for a documentary, like a reality show. Before the surgery starts, the doctor explains the boy's condition to the camera. Suddenly, his heart rate spikes, and he goes into cardiac arrest. Docs rush to save him, and the surgery's put on hold. When the boy wakes up, he feels desperate, cause he really wants that surgery, and wants to live a normal life.
Dad, I feel fine.
But House insists to fix his heart first, or the surgery could be dangerous. In the end, they find out the boy's got Lyme disease. Once cured, he goes through the cosmetic surgery, and the boy finally gets a normal appearance.
Thank you, Dr. House.
The man is sniffing all over this lady like a total weirdo. He's just trying to figure out what's up with her health. The woman had no idea what infection she had, as her body was covered in red spots.
Need to get a better look at your rash.
Use your imagination.
Just then, the flight attendant came over and said, 3 more passengers caught the same thing. So what's the deal with this mystery illness? House thinks it's food poisoning, and asks what grub they served on the flight. Cod and seafood were the options. He immediately grabbed the intercom, and told everyone to head to the restroom, and induce vomiting to reduce toxin absorption. Hearing this, passengers rushed to the restrooms. After throwing up, everyone's left hand started uncontrollably trembling, causing panic and suspicion of meningitis. The anxious flight attendant asked House what they should do, but House replied, "Go pop some champagne and celebrate." Turns out, the whole thing was a test. It wasn't meningitis at all, just a case of mass hysteria, a psychogenic condition caused by stress. Stress-induced fake symptoms happen, sometimes up in the sky when peeps are on edge. For example, when someone sees others vomiting and breaking out in rashes, the idea gets implanted in their brain. The brain thinks you're sick and makes you vomit too. As long as everyone calmed down, the symptoms would quickly disappear, and sure enough, everything returned to normal. The doctor actually brought a pig into the operating room to save a person's life. Just now, the police rushed in with a patient, the head of a notorious gang. On his way to the courthouse, he suddenly turned green, vomited, and passed out. The doctor's initial diagnosis pointed to poisoning. The patient's liver had already given up the ghost, giving him a meager 2-hour lifeline.
We're gonna have to get him a new one.
2 hours?
There was no way they could scramble together a liver transplant in that short period.
There is another way.
So, the doctor had the audacity to request a pig. The pig's liver became the unsung hero, stepping in for the failing human liver, filtering out the toxic mess. While this method couldn't provide a permanent solution, it granted the doctor additional time to investigate the cause. Turns out, man was a heavy smoker. His white blood cell count had sharply dropped, indicating his recent quitting attempts. But he overdosed on nicotine gum. Let him spend a few more hours with the pig. Stop eating the gum. He would recover. In a gesture of gratitude, he presented House with an incredibly stylish sports car.
I'm screwed. Gotta take the car.
Nevertheless, shouldn't Mr. Pig be the one he should be most grateful to? 15-year-old supermodel was walking the runway. Suddenly, she was like being struck by a supernatural force, and then she collapsed onto the ground. After a series of rescue efforts, she finally regained consciousness. However, she was now suffering from
What's wrong with her?
a temporary loss of memory. Puzzled by her case, the doctor decided to dig deeper into her brain, but they found something weird. The girl had ball,
Oh my god.
and a tumor was chilling out on it. Turns out, she had a condition called male pseudohermaphroditism. It occurs when the male sexual characteristics of a fetus during pregnancy take on female characteristics. So, in reality, this seemingly ordinary 15-year-old girl was actually biologically male. Girl couldn't believe it.
No, you're wrong. I'm a girl. Look at me. How could you say I'm not a girl?
However, as strange as it sounded, the reality was undeniable. But no need to fret. By surgically removing the ball, she could make a full recovery. It just goes to show that sometimes, the most physically flawless women may be more man than meets the eye.